Fetus wishes to speak with you.
We must stop Kane. He has gained the ability to control Tiberium's effects, to reform the planet so that it supports another kind of life, Tiberium-based life. The Tacitus explains how it is to be done.
How can you be sure of this?
Because I translated it for him. I have betrayed the world.
Sir, I think I know what Kane is up to.
God damn it, Mac. Find out where those fighters are coming from and shut them down. I don't care what it takes. Ava, fill him in.
Sat Recon suggests that the fighters are flying out of a secret Nod base in east-northeast Sector 7. Nod is using a stealth generator to cloak their base.
Ghoststalker and I will take a squad of our own people in ahead. We know how to hide from them. They won't cloak the base if they don't know we're there.
I think it's too dangerous.
Let's get something straight. I don't take orders from you. I'm not fighting this war for you. I fight for the Forgotten.
One of two possible locations for the fighter production facility. Use the mutants to locate its whereabouts while remaining undetected. If detected, Nod will cloak the factory and deploy more troops. Hide the mutants, and Nod will once again uncloak their base. After the base location is recorded, GDI dropships will immediately arrive with reinforcements. Another possible location of the fighter production facility. Use the mutants to locate the position of the fighter production facility. They must remain undetected. If Nod suspects enemy forces, they will cloak their production facility and deploy troops. If the mutants can hide from the Nod troops for a short period, Nod will assume the area is clear and uncloak the base. Once we have recorded the location of the base, the mission will be complete.
Well, welcome back, Commander. So first things first, sadly there's no real difference in the briefing, so it's hard to determine which one you should or shouldn't pick. Not that there's technically, a right or wrong answer, but it would have been nice to have maybe a little bit more different text as to let you know what was going on or what would be different.
You talking to me?
Sir. Since I won't get to it until the map video, obviously, in terms of seeing exactly what's different and all that, the guide I have simply states that this mission, the initial part is tougher, but the follow-up portion is easier. So,
What?
take that as you will.
What?
Yes?
You talking to me? Give me an order. You talking to me? Give me an order.
Over here, there could be trouble.
I also find that it's really weird, the setup to this mission. If Nod can cloak its base, and I mean in gang terms they're always permanently cloaked, why wouldn't they just stay permanently cloaked?
You got it.
Like, we've seen that it doesn't cloak concrete walls, so I don't know.
What?
It just seems like they could have used a little bit more of a explanation there.
Over here.
Oh, and to be 100% honest, I don't know why this guy's mad at this observation post. I guess they just needed something for those guys to shoot.
What do you want?
Yes? Give me a target.
To be 100% honest, I was just worried that that would like break a trigger or something, so figured it was easy just to get rid of him.
Over here.
What do you want?
Oh, and for those curious,
Sir?
yeah, it's what you think. I mean, how many other vehicles have twin turrets? Or twin cannons?
You got it.
You talking to me?
Ready for action.
What? Okay.
Give me a target ready. Yes, sir?
I will say, though, the sprite work involved for the Mammoth Tank doesn't look as great as, past examples. With that being said, the fact that they're even in the game is pretty funny and indicates a nice continuity in timeline. The fact that, they exist, and at this point, in this age anyways, they're probably considered more derelict vehicles and old tech.
What? Okay.
Ready for action. Unit reporting. Moving out. Ready for action.
I guess the smartest, or the best way to actually show that they're old and not really useful for much, in terms of like this style of combat and all that, is just the fact that they're really slow. And I know Mammoth Tanks were slow to begin with, but it's interesting to see like how the Mammoth Tank and a Titan, I think, are somewhere near the same speed.
Give me an order. What do you want?
If anything, the Mammoth Tank definitely has problems on rougher terrain, but excels on roads. And considering all the different maps we've seen, the varied locations, and how Tiberium's kind of ruined a lot of the world,
You talking to me?
yeah, I can see why Titans and mechs in general would be a more preferable option.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You talking to me?
Yes. Yes. Sir. Unit reporting.
Give me an order.
Give me a target.
So if it's not apparent, this map's like huge, and I feel like I'm going about it wrong.
Unit ready.
What do you want?
And it actually made me wonder just how different the other mission is, because I forget what the other mission actually looks like since I haven't touched it in forever. And I'm kind of just stuck wondering, like, okay, at what point do I finally get to the enemy base?
Give me a target.
And,
What do you want? What?
is there going to be a good payoff?
Ready for action. Unit reporting. Unit ready. Sir. Yes. Anytime.
Yeah, I kind of figured the Mammoth Tank wouldn't have that long range to be shooting downhill. But the height advantage kind of speaks for itself.
Already there.
Over here. Give me a target.
It's weird too because I feel like the Mammoth Tank's sound has like an extra 2 shots to it.
What?
Like it sounds like it shoots 4 times.
Give me an order. Give me an order.
Give me a target.
Give me an order. What?
Yes.
Oh, and I think I lied last mission. Instead of 2 units being left to show off, there's 3, and they're all equally... well, yeah, they're all equally good, I guess.
What?
Sir.
What do you want?
Yeah, that's kind of why you don't want to just roam around the map with 2 unnamed mutants. Umagon and Ghost Stalker are the better options.
What?
Also, I like that he's referenced as Ghost Stalker.
What?
Give me a target. Unit reporting.
It'd be interesting to see if they ever gave him like an actual name, or if it's one of those weird mystery, like, he never had a name, or his name was long forgotten, much like his people.
Over here.
You talking to me?
Over here.
Speaking of forgotten, also, I guess, thanks Trados for being a traitor, and, like, if you have to read it and translate it,
Give me an order.
unless you're one of those types of people that read stuff out loud all the time, how would you ever decide to read, like, mutating a mineral infecting world, please synthesize this way and use as a, weapon of mass destruction?
You talking to me?
Reinforcements have arrived.
And guess what? We've got one of the strongest units in the game. Strongest single units.
Yes, sir. Unit orders received. Unit ready. Unit reporting.
And yeah, I guess when you
Sir.
get to a certain point, the base just decloaks.
Stay low.
Enemy at target.
And I think it recloaks eventually. Sadly, the nature of this mission means that you kind of have to find a suitable location to start your base, and then actually start it, build up everything, and so on. Sadly, and I think the devs knew this, but there's just so much distance you can get with Ghost Stalker. It's just short of being able to hit those power plants. So I was trying my damnedest to get him to shoot and eventually damage or destroy power plants, but nothing doing. So if the text when the unit was actually deployed on the map wasn't obvious enough, that is the Mammoth Mark II. The quadruped that's, basically a giant hulking monster of doom and destruction. It's got range, but, when you're trying to shoot at a target, especially in how everything's positioned, it's a little awkward to do. The Mammoth Mark II sports 2 separate railguns, and at least 2 different rocket launchers. Well, the same rocket launcher, but it always looks like it shoots twice or whatever. Basically, it's given the ability to attack any ground unit and any air unit. I think it has the highest cost in the game. Let me quickly check that here. The Mammoth Mark II has a cost of 3,000. So, and I forget if I've ever seen a Mammoth Mark II get any veterancy, period. The main issue, obviously, is that with such a high cost, you have to destroy a lot before you ever get to that point. And while the Mammoth Mark II does have the ability to self-heal, it, much like the original Mammoth tank, only starts to heal after it's lost more than 50% of its HP. And it will only regain up to 50%. That sounds great, but unfortunately the armor of the Mammoth tank doesn't really afford it sort of invincibility. It's strong, don't get me wrong, but versus enough units, it will always be guaranteed to lose. Unless your opponent's really bad and just constantly has all his units rush you in lines so that the railgun can kill everybody. Also, yeah, this is a little frustrating.
Building.
Unit reporting. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Another major issue with the GDI forces is that you're forced to always go back to your base to repair, because that's the only location you can put it down a service depot. So when you have a unit that's as slow and lumbering as the original Mammoth tank, it creates some issues.
Preparing.
Now, one quote-unquote remedy to that problem is to use the Mammoth Mark II as more of a harassment device. At least in the guides I've read, they always seem to mention that the Mammoth Mark II is just very powerful at being dumped into whatever various Tiberium field that your enemy harvesters are at, and harass them that way.
Preparing.
Now, how would you do that quickly? Well, that's simple. You use the Orca Carryall. The Carryall is one of the better units for that purpose.
Unit ready.
Now, sadly, there's only so much that a Carryall can, carry. And this isn't to say that it can't take the heaviest unit, like the Mammoth Mark II here. It's more the fact that Carryall still has the required time to lift off, drop onto a unit, pick it up, go do its thing, and then rinse, repeat.
Unit reporting.
Generally speaking, though, if you can use them to ferry units around, obviously all the better. And for units like the Mammoth Mark II and the Disruptor, the Carryall is kind of a unit you absolutely want in your fighting force.
Sir?
Oh, and another thing that we've seen as a problem when it comes to railguns, they don't destroy walls. It's like the one limitation I don't quite understand.
Unit ready. On my way.
Unit ready.
It wouldn't be so bad as long as the developers had realized that. And maybe they did, and I'm just not giving them enough credit or something. But it would have been cool if the Mammoth Mark II, instead of using its railgun, would have simply defaulted to its missiles. Which, at this point, I'm starting to wonder if we're even going to see in this mission.
Waiting orders.
Maybe it's just something along the lines of, because they don't use them, the Mammoth doesn't use them against ground targets, period.
Waiting orders.
Unit ready.
It always defers to the railgun. So maybe it has something to do with that, the fact that they're anti-air only.
Unit reporting out.
Unit
Engineer,
ready.
no problem. Waiting orders. Yes, sir? Yes, sir.
I gotta admit, though, it's rather lovely to see Mammoth 2 just walk up to whatever it wants and vaporize it.
Yes, sir. Waiting orders. No problem. Awaiting orders.
And it's not like it has a very slow, attack time. So you can definitely get some, some worth coming from it.
Unit ready. Ordered out. Sir? Yes, sir. Waiting orders. Unit reporting. Waiting orders.
Building. Training.
Pilot reporting. Sir?
I really wish that the SAM sites got depowered.
Unit ready.
No problem. Sir? Unit reporting.
And yeah, here's the problem with the Mammoth Mark II.
Waiting orders.
Again, it's a very powerful weapon,
Unit ready.
but once it starts taking damage
Unit
and you kind of dilly-dally on where it should go and who it should attack and all that stuff, it just,
Unit ready.
it clearly has an issue.
Unit ready.
Unit ready. Ordered out. Sir? Sir?
Unit
Unit
ready.
reporting.
Oh, and this was a lot of good luck right here.
Sir? Sir? Orders received.
The fact that,
Yes, sir.
I pop out, or I have my amphibious APC go somewhere as a flame tongue or devil's tongue shows up,
Unit ready.
Waiting orders.
Structure.
I was expecting the worst.
Sir, no problem. Engineering problem.
Unit lost.
Engineering problem.
I probably should have started building defensive structures, but whatever.
Lost.
Sir?
Structure sold.
Waiting order. Unit reporting. Moving out. Unit ready.
By the way, that's like one of the only bonuses that jump jet infantry have. The fact that they have a different armor category than regular infantry means they don't get wiped out nearly as quickly against devil's tongues. Is that ever important? No. But, whatever works.
Waiting order.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
Orders received. Unit ready. Ready. Sir?
While the fact that the Nod forces here have a very strong forward defense, the fact that you're given carryalls to experiment with is really nice. and the open terrain, thanks to the water area, makes it relatively easy to, succeed in this mission. The basic gist of it is, look, if you're attacking the front, you're doing things wrong.
Unit lost.
I guess in a way it's a good primer for a GDI player to think outside the box with new tools.
Ready.
Unit reporting. Unit ready.
And if it wasn't for the fact that they were still producing tanks, with what money I don't know, then yeah, I'd be taking out those obelisks of light too.
Sir.
Although, considering how much we've already seen in regards to the second power plant they seem to have, or power plant area, probably not a good idea to take out such power-consuming buildings.
Sir. Loud and clear.
Unit ready.
Sir.
Unit
Yes,
lost.
sir. Sir.
Unit lost.
Waiting orders. Unit ready.
lost.
Unit ready.
Unit ready.
Waiting orders. Sir. Sir.
Checking the guide on the other mission, it's actually very interesting how the guide refers to using MSAs or mobile sensor arrays as like in a quote-unquote very smart way, like in a diligent way, because the idea that they promote is that instead of sneaking a group behind enemy lines to destroy power plants that way, you should be using MSAs with your attacking force and have them like slowly inch their way towards the enemy base in order to discover all of the hidden units. Personally, I gotta admit, I don't agree with it. MSAs are nice and all, but they feel like a wholly defensive implement, and to use them on offense just kind of slows down the offense. Oh, did they actually have another refinery? I forget if they did. Ah, they did. That's where they get redeem their money. Really wish there was a sell all button or trigger for the AI. Oh, and but way back when in this very video, there's a reason why I thought I was doing this mission wrong. It's because there's this little base here. Like you're supposed to kind of discover this location first and then go around. Mainly because I think the bridge is out no matter what, and there might be some text about how, something to check.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir. On my way. Waiting orders. Waiting orders. Sir. Waiting orders. Sir.
And yeah, it turns out there's some rocket infantry in the middle of nowhere.
Unit ready.
But hey, let's explore the map a little bit, see if we missed anything.
Sir.
Unit ready.
Pilot. Form up. Unit ready. Orders received. No problem. On my way.
Unit ready.